Good afternoon. Keith Tebow with you from FRCmedia. Thank you for joining us. We're heading toward the end of another school year, and that means for many parents what to do with their kids this summer. And we're going to be speaking over the next few weeks to a number of people to give you some options about what can do with your children this year. And obviously, this year is a lot different than last year in many ways. And we're going to talk about one of those options today. And please be joined by Stephanie Mancini. She is the executive director at the YMCA here in Fall River. Stephanie, how are you? Nice to see you again.
Thanks for having me, Keith. Nice to see you too.
So, we spoke last year about what was happening at the Y and Camp Quequechan, which is available for children. I guess let me just ask you, well, what's going to be different this year than last year, mainly because of COVID?
Yeah. Last year was definitely a challenging year. Well, the first thing is that we'll be able to have more children. So, we're excited about that. And secondly, of course, we have restrictions. Many of the restrictions have dropped. We are not requiring mask wearing. Of course, parents can choose if they would like to send their child with a mask. We will still continue to upkeep with all of our cleaning and disinfecting. That is, quite frankly, always been something that we pride ourselves on. We will have a longer day. Last year we had a 7-hour day. This year we'll go back up to an 8-hour day. So we'll be operating from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then hopefully we will be back to what we used to have, which was called extended care, Keith, and that was from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we hope to work our way back up to that. So those are some of the main changes this year. But we will be operating out of the Fall River Y, the 199 North Main Street location. And I can tell you all the different activities that we have going on.
Yeah. Before we get to that, though, in terms of the levels of registrations, obviously you had a lower number because of COVID and maybe because of people's concerns. Are you going to be back at the level you were, say, in 2019, or are you still a little bit below? How do the numbers look like, I guess?
Yeah, still a little bit lower. In the past, we had transported our kids to the Fall River kids to the Swansea campus, which had just a lot more space. So we're typically upwards of about 160 kids. This year, we're looking at anywhere from 80 to 100 on a weekly basis. So we are going to do some walking field trips. I can explain that a little bit further. We do anticipate on using our space, our small space that we do have outside. We're really getting creative with that. But really, we're looking at probably a maximum of 100 children this year, which is still almost double what we had last year.
All right. And the camps start at the end of June, I believe?
June 28th, Monday, June 28th.
And parents can register on a weekly basis. Is there like a minimum that parents can send their children to camp? Obviously, it would be nice if some children are there the whole summer, but we know, families take vacations and the like. So what's the minimum someone can register?
Yeah, typically it's 2 weeks, but we can do, we can work with people, but it is full time. We don't do by the day. So, but people can register for usually they register for 2 weeks at a time. Most of our folks are here for the whole summer. But the registration process is pretty simple. I do recommend that folks come into the Y at this point, just because we are, we're so close to the kickoff. But really, it's just your camp application form, and we do require physicals and most recent immunizations. Really excited. We're under new leadership this summer. Alicia Rose, we all call her Rosie. She is our new camp director, and she's really built a nice, strong team, and she would be the contact person if there's any questions, any detailed questions in regards to registration.
All right, so let's talk about what children can expect at Camp Quequechan this year. What are some of the activities? Are there anything new this year that they can expect?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are basically going to use our second, third, and fourth floor. It's just all dedicated to camp and indoors anyways. And we're looking at doing some culinary programs. We're going to have our own little internal restaurant, so kids will get an experience to kind of play a waiter or a waitress, and and experiment with recipes. We're going to be doing a health and wellness component. We're going to have sports like we always do, arts and crafts, enrichment, some traditional enrichment activities. We're also going to have some sewing. Children will be able to do swimming and swim lessons. We're going to have a dramatic play, so a little theater for those kids that are interested in that. STEAM and STEM activities. And we're actually going to have mainly for our older kids is our technology group. We do have a beautiful, we call it our Education Achievement Center on the 4th floor. We have all kinds of cool 3D printers and smart boards and equipment that our kids can learn how to use. Our staff are going to be leading them in that. So and our outdoor space is new. So we do have an area outside that we're actually transforming into what's called Adventure Alley, fully equipped with a mud kitchen, sensory table, foursquare, hopscotch, chalkboard. There's a truck area. We're going to make a car wash. It's made out of PVC. And there'll be a tent and picnic tables. So we are excited about that. And like I said, we're gonna maximize our space indoors and outdoors this year, Keith.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So definitely a lot going on for the children this year. Let me just ask you, Stephanie, in terms of yourself and the staff, what does it feel like to be somewhat back to normal in terms of these types of activities? Last year was obviously, I'll call it a punch to the gut for all of us in terms of dealing with COVID. How important is it to get back to this sort of normalcy, and how do you feel the children will react?
It's very important. I mean, I would say a good percentage of our kids right now, Keith, are going to stay with us in the summertime. And quite frankly, throughout this year, we had our kids up until March 29th, until the kids went back to school. We had them full time. We had them all day. And the relationships that we really built with the families this year was definitely special. I mean, there were some challenging times, technical difficulties and all kinds of things that we learned. And frankly, I think that, we will improve upon things as we move into this future. It is a different, it is a different world. There is a lot of sense of relief, but I think there's also a lot of caution too. Just because they lifted restrictions in the state of Massachusetts doesn't mean that we're going to stop doing certain things. As I mentioned, we pride ourselves on being a really clean facility. That's actually one of the biggest compliments that I get. And frankly, that is one of the best compliments you can get when you run a facility that houses hundreds and thousands of people. So, we will continue to do those things. And if people feel like they want to wear their mask to protect themselves, then they definitely should. But it is definitely a sense of relief. We are not requiring people to show their vaccination cards or anything like that. It's really just on the honor system. So, people in general seem very happy with it. And I think it will be a lot lifted, especially off the children. They have been just amazing. I mean, these kids have been wearing their masks all day long at school and then at the Y. And I think for the most part, they've just done a great job with it. It's amazing to me. So I think it will be a sense of relief and just a sense of normalcy. We're looking forward to.
Finally, Stephanie, how can people find out more about Camp Quequechan? I know you mentioned that, in terms of registering, they should probably come into the Y as we're in, early part of June to make sure that they have a spot. But if they just want to find some information, how can they do so?
I would just go on our website, www.ymcasc.org. You can also follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on the YMCA South Coast page, or better yet, the Fall River Y. We have a lot of activity on that, and we are also on Instagram as well. So we have all kinds of information out there, but it is close to the punch. So if people want to really see the facility and kind of get their application in, I would strongly recommend to just come into the Y.
Right. All right, Stephanie Mancini, Executive Director of the Fall River YMCA. Thank you for your time as always. All the best, and we'll catch up again soon. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Keith.
All right. And thank you for joining us here on FRC Media. I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great rest of your day.